you ever wonder why the old gods are so different compared to any other void being we can previously see? Well, something absolutely crazy is going on as we learn there is so much unknown history between the old gods and the void lords that is currently being revealed in the new patch. Old gods realize they now control the most powerful source in the universe, Azeroth's world soul, and why would they just give it away to their masters when they can build their own Black Empire? Xal'atath started building something in Ny'alotha, and for this, Xal'atath attacked with her pure void army, but she was no match for the newly empowered old god forms. Now, check this out. Ny'alotha is known as the Dreaming City, also the Sunken City. Guess who is dreaming? Azeroth. Guess who doesn't want to wake her up? It is also possible that the Sunken City is literally sunken under Khaz'Algar, and that Ny'alotha built something that gave these old guys empowered forms. Old gods beat the Void army and Xal'atath, but the Titans then stopped the Black Empire, and now the Void is coming back for their prize, and Xal'atath is going to finish the job that she was supposed to all those years ago. Playing WoW on your phone is actually possible with Awesome, this video's sponsor. You can check in on your characters, do the simple tasks that you just don't want to sit at a computer for, and it allows you to control your phone completely free. Awesome is incredibly easy to use. Check out my link in the description, download the PC app and the phone app, and just connect them. The free version itself is amazing. You can control your desktop, transfer files, but the real deal is the game version. It has custom keyboards for various games other than just WoW, and you can enjoy AFK gaming at any time, anywhere with game sound. Make sure to use my code DORON to get 7 days completely free, only for the first 200 people. Start remote gaming as they got hot sales with up to 40% off on pro and game versions. Check out Awesome. Just as it was foreshadowed back in Legion with Xal'atath constantly having these cheeky comments about the old gods and how stupid they are, we finally learned what really happened between them and a bit more information on who she truly is. However, in 11.1.7 with the new cinematic, they just foreshadowed something absolutely gigantic that kind of changes pretty much all the Black Empire lore that we've known so far, and it involves Ny'alotha and our fabled Ny'alotha. So, for you that have been following the intricacies and more obscure interviews, you might remember that about 2-3 years back during Dragonflight, when we first got the new whisper from Ny'alotha, we were told that everything we have known about the old gods may be a lie and that a big betrayal happened. Old god lore has really been shifting since they were added to the game. Back in the day, we were told these guys were more powerful than Sargeras, and then the Chronicle just put them as mere tools that the Void Lords sort of sent randomly across a whole bunch of planets in order to check if they have World Soul, and if they do, to corrupt them and to create a so-called Void Titan. Keep in mind, this is Chronicle lore, so this is Titan perspective lore. Looks like that has in a way been true. It is sort of a half-lie, but the interview of him a few years back told us that old gods are chaotic beings. They are not like the Titans, they don't follow strict hierarchies, and that it is very likely that they had already rebelled against their creators and did something entirely different. Now, that has essentially been actually soft confirmed in the game in 11.1.7 with the PTR, but I think Blizzard decided to go a different way about it, and let me really quickly explain how. So, the interview back in the day told us that the Void is naturally chaotic, that they just rebel, but then again, I mean, we've seen old god minions all over the place. They do seem to follow orders and pretty strict hierarchies, so this doesn't really check out, and it doesn't really make much sense. The very likely new theory that I think Blizzard kind of added halfway through is the entire influence of Azeroth as the world soul. Now, I've talked about this, I've made videos about this months ago, so it's a super long topic to cover, but let me sum it up super quick. So, by all the new lore, Azeroth is a neutral elemental energy thing. It's definitely not a Titan. The Titans have built a prison over it, we've seen it. There is an entire mechanism over it called the Manifold to empower the world core, which is like a giant Titan chamber over Azeroth's soul. Now, the beings of order do in fact follow hierarchies. They're robot-like, they're as close to computers as you can get, and we've recently started learning of a whole bunch of different rebellions that the Titans didn't want us to know about. They got so bad, they built a giant robot to destroy everyone in Khaz'Algar. There is one in Evaloran where they literally separated themselves from the Titans and rebelled, and these guys sent multiple expeditions, and they defeated the Keepers, and even we have seen multiple rebellions in Khaz'Algar. Khaz'Algar Earthen were sent to build this world core prison, and those that got close started being turned into crystals, and instead of building it, they started destroying the facilities. Then from the journals we had seen the Earthen suddenly started to question things. Why are they forcing us to work? What did we get out of it? They all started hearing Azeroth's voice all of a sudden, especially as they got deeper below. So all this confirms that Azeroth seems to really be like a progenitor of free will on the planet. Based on this new lore, it's likely that the entire Curse of Flesh in Northrend from Wrath of the Lich King that created like half the playable races we've learned about wasn't really even just Yogg-Saron, but very likely Azeroth as well. Now, we have just learned something even crazier in 11.1.7. If you guys followed my channel, you can find the video where I talked about this months ago, but I really do still believe that Azeroth has actually defeated the old gods in a way, and not just them, but pretty much everyone that has tried to force convert her so far. As you can see, no one has successfully done it yet, despite hundreds of thousands of years of invasions from all these crazy powerful cosmological guys. Azeroth may have played her voice and got the old gods to realize that converting Azeroth and finishing the job means that this is the end for them and it is pointless, and instead they can just rule themselves. I mean, it is after all basic logic. If Azeroth is the most powerful source in existence and the old gods have their tentacles on it, why should they just submit and give this power to the Void Lords who just see them as mere tools? In fact, Azeroth may have helped them defeat the Void Lords. This is not just a speculation, we have new cinematics and information from the PTR, so it is supported by evidence. So we've learned that Ny'alotha apparently started building something that he shouldn't have in Ny'alotha, and for this, Xal'atath decided to attack him. Ny'alotha calls all the old gods, summons them to imprison Xal'atath inside the blade as they manage to defeat her. We do learn something crazy interesting though. Xal'atath appears, and I know this might just be a placeholder model of course, but she appears as a pure void being. It is in fact confirmed by dialogue that she is leading a pure void army in this attack. However, the old gods say her void army is no match for their empowered forms. Keep in mind, empowered forms, this literally sounds like a reversed Curse of Flesh, or what happens when Azeroth starts impacting void beings. Even more mind-blowing than this, despite us knowing that old gods do exist on different planets, we had never actually seen them in person or in any art. What if the old gods are actually just like Xal'atath? In fact, it would be more likely. All void beings we have seen so far look like void beings, yet the old gods are so different, you know, tentacles, eyes, flesh, all these weird humanoid features that don't really resemble void beings. What if the old gods that we know are already empowered by Azeroth, by the Curse of Flesh, and this is what makes them even more powerful and why they were able to defeat Xal'atath? Interesting enough, the old gods talk as if Xal'atath betrayed them, but by all accounts, it seems like Xal'atath is the true loyalist to their master, the Void Lords. I personally think old gods rebelled, they built their own empire. I mean, think about it, it has been evident from the start. Old gods are supposed to just convert Azeroth, not build cities and empires and conquer territory. Why are they building all these cities when they were just supposed to pump up Azeroth with the Void? I think Xal'atath was sent to get them back in line. She played along with them for a little bit, and then when she found out Ny'alotha was building something in Ny'alotha, she attacked, and this brings us to the main question of this video: what was this guy building? So I've talked about this, about how Ny'alotha may be returning, how it may actually be in Khaz'Algar. Hear me out, I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but do you remember that Ny'alotha was a place in BFA that we never truly visited? It was an alternate reality, but it obviously existed on Azeroth. It was called the Dreaming, the Waking City, which, if you think about it, it may not actually refer to us dreaming about this reality, but it may be related to Azeroth dreaming and sleeping within this city. Even more interestingly, it was known as the Sunken City, but it wasn't actually sunken when we visited it, so what does this even mean? I've talked about how it is entirely possible that Ny'alotha is actually under Khaz'Algar, in that sea under the sea. There's this void sea where all these void beings live that we still haven't seen, and it was literally sunken under the sea. Khaz'Algar is the place where Azeroth's world soul, the heart, is, and this was actually confirmed. I mean, this is where the Titans later built their prison over it. Now, seeing that Ny'alotha is called the Dreaming City, it's likely that it was in this place as well. Like, first, old gods built Ny'alotha, then Elune built Eluna here, the world tree here that was ripped out, and then ultimately the Titans built their world core, so it's like one layer on top of the other. However, I think what N'Zoth built might have been the true and the final nail of their rebellion. Like, they finally told the Void Lords, screw you. They were supposed to awaken Azeroth for the Void Lords, convert her, but he might have built his own mechanism there that would only allow the old gods to influence Azeroth, and it would bar the Void Lords from doing anything. I think the old gods were never going to awaken Azeroth at all. I mean, this is why N'Zoth told us that she will bring only ruin. Like, he knew if she returns, she's going to bring the void that is going to destroy this planet. I think they became more powerful than their masters, and that is why they managed to defeat Xal'atath that the Void Lords sent personally. They rebelled, they blocked off the Void Lords, but they didn't expect the Titans to come in and to interfere with the entire process. However, now the true void is finally coming for their prize after all these years, and Xal'atath is finally going to accomplish what she should have all those hundreds and thousands of years ago. I personally think N'Zoth built something like the Titan prison so that no one could come for it, or it could actually be similar to what Sargeras did to Argus. I mean, do you remember when Sargeras built this machinery or a world soul in order to empower his own army? This might be what gave the old gods and their armies the empowered forms that actually allowed them to defeat Xal'atath and the pure void army that they were previously no match for. Just like how Sargeras empowered himself with fell magic and defeated the pure Titan powers, N'Zoth might have built some sort of machinery that would never awaken Azeroth but would siphon her power and to make themselves more powerful. This is the machinery the Titans hid beyond the waves. This is what they don't want us to know. This is why they first tried to hide it with the World Tree, and ultimately Giant Fissure was created, and then they had to do all this stuff to build their own prison. Looks like things are truly heating up, and we're getting closer to truly unraveling this giant conspiracy. Thanks for watching. Check out the sudden return of Arthas by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on real world history by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.